We're talking Better Call Saul, Episode 2, Witness. The ending of this episode was fantastic. One of the best scenes on TV I've seen. Just really a lot of emotion in that last scene of this episode. However, in this episode, we got Mike hailing the guy who put the tracking device in his car. And it leads to, of course, we all know from the Breaking Bad fans, Hermanos Bolos, Gus. Gus is there. Of course, that tracking device is Gus. And of course, Gus turns the tables, especially towards the end of this episode when Mike finds out that, hey man, they found the tracking device that I put on them, and there's a little phone on top of it, of the gas lid, and that phone is ringing, and Mike has to answer it, and it's like, yep, and it's Gus. But I really felt for Jimmy in this episode. Jimmy and Chuck's relationship took a whole new level, and I really love the relationship between Jimmy and Kim. But what happened to Kim? We know Breaking Bad. We know what happens to Saul. We know what happens to Jimmy. What happens to Kim? I'm just waiting to see it blow up. I'm ready to see what happens to Kim. She probably leaves. She has to leave at this point. So she finds out from Chuck's assistant that Chuck has a tape on him. Jimmy's has all these clients happening and stuff. It's a good day. Just painted the wall. And Kim's like, no, you listen, give me $20. I love that scene when she's like, give me $20, and Jimmy gives her $20, and she says, I'm your lawyer. We need to play this by the ear. So basically, Jimmy finds out that, yep, Chuck recorded him. Before that, though, we do have Mike and Jimmy teaming up together. Mike has Jimmy go into the restaurant, tells him to watch the guy with the backpack he's been tailing all this time. And this episode felt really long, and the episode really kind of dragged, especially when Jimmy was in the chicken place, and it just felt like it just was dragging a little bit from a couple of episodes here, or a couple of scenes here and there. I think it really kind of took off once the Chuck and Jimmy stuff was happening, because it was a slower episode until that Chuck and Jimmy stuff that was going down. Kim asks Jimmy if he's okay, and he says he's fine, and then Kim goes back to her office, and it's very obvious that he's not okay. He goes to Chuck's, and Howard is there at this point, and the confrontation happens, man. Chuck comes in, Howard hides, Chuck grabs the tape, destroys the tape, says, you're going to ruin our family over this. And of course, Howard's a witness, and the guy who's with Howard's a witness. Chuck has witnesses that Jimmy, in fact, did everything that he said on that tape. Chuck didn't even need the tape. All he needed was Jimmy. Chuck knew Jimmy was going to come and try to destroy the tape. And I don't know if he thought he was going to have him blow up as much as he did like that. But I think Chuck's going to have a change of heart later on. But the whole scene was so great. So much emotion. So much drama with Saul, or Jimmy, and Chuck. And how Jimmy was just kind of he was heartbroken. And you could feel that. You could feel that when he was yelling at him. He was so heartbroken. The fact that Chuck betrayed him like that. When Jimmy was worried about him that whole time when he recorded it. So great emotion, great impactful emotional acting scene at the end. I do think this episode was really good. I do think it lagged a lot in some places, but it kind of added to the tension, and not so much to the tension because we already know who Gus is if you watch Breaking Bad. So we already know those puzzle pieces coming together. We didn't really need to know, it feels like Gus is here because we're at the point of Jimmy's life where, this is all going to happen, and Mike's life where this is all coming together. But I think what really was the focus and heart of this episode was Jimmy and Chuck, and that's why I think that alone, and that emotional scene at the end, especially with the dialogue between Kim and Jimmy, and just a lot of things going back and forth, and a lot of just crazy stuff in this episode. I think that definitely was the key to everything. So it was good. It was a good episode. I did quite enjoy it. So thank you guys for listening. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Really appreciate it. Like the video if you like, and comment below. Let you guys thoughts. I'm Dan Megan Son. See you guys later. Cheers.